It was 3:27 a.m. when Anna jolted awake. The room was silent, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. Her hand instinctively rested on her swollen belly. 32 weeks. She felt a flutter, then a small kick. Smiling for a moment, she glanced at the glowing phone screen. One missed call. Unknown number. She tapped it, and the voicemail began. It was a woman's voice. Cold. Clear. "I thought you should know. He's not with you tonight. He's with me. He says you're just a burden now." Anna's breath caught. The air in the room turned to ice. She whispered, "No, no." Her mind raced. Not him. Not now. Not when she needed him most. Her world began to tilt. The house, once a nest of comfort, felt like a prison. Tears welled, blurring the framed ultrasound photo across the room. A sob slipped out, quiet but sharp. Her hand trembled. "Please," she muttered to the darkness. "Please, let this be a mistake." But the voice haunted her. "He's not with you tonight." Morning came like a slap. The light was too harsh. Anna sat in the kitchen, hands wrapped around a mug of tea she hadn't touched. Her eyes were swollen, her mind in a haze. Every sound felt louder than it should. A car door. A dog barking. The ticking of the clock. She kept checking her phone. No messages. No apology. Just silence. Finally she called him. Straight to voicemail. "Hey, it's me," she said shakily. "If you're out, just call me back. Please." Her voice cracked. "Please." She hung up and stared at the wall. Her reflection in the microwave caught her attention. Red eyes, pale face, hair a mess. She looked nothing like the glowing woman she was weeks ago. That woman believed in forever. This woman knew better. The day dragged on. She tried to distract herself, folding baby clothes, organizing diapers, but her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Every corner of the nursery whispered memories of hope. The giraffe mobile they chose together, the paint he insisted on. She collapsed onto the rocking chair, gripping a tiny pair of socks. Her chest tightened. What if he never came back? What if she raised this child alone? Her heart screamed, but the room remained silent. A single tear hit the sock. "You're all I have now," she whispered to the unborn life inside her. And in that moment, the baby kicked again, stronger this time. A reminder. She wasn't alone. Late afternoon, the door creaked open. Her heart leapt. Footsteps. Then his voice. "Hey," he said casually, like nothing had happened. She froze mid-step in the hallway. "Where were you?" she asked, not turning. "Out," he said, walking past her into the kitchen. "I needed space." Anna's hands balled into fists. "Space," she said, voice rising. "While I lay here, carrying your child, worried sick, getting voicemails from some woman saying you're cheating." He didn't need her eyes. "You're overreacting." That word shattered her. Her voice broke. "Get out." For the first time he looked shaken. But she didn't waver. Not this time. She sat alone on the couch after he left, the echo of the slammed door still in the air. Her fingers clutched the edge of a blanket. Her body shook, not from fear, but from release. For weeks she'd tolerated silence, shrugged off suspicion, told herself he was just stressed. But now there was no more room for lies. The truth sat beside her like an unwelcome ghost. Still, in the quiet, the baby moved again. Her eyes softened. She looked down, placed a hand over her belly and whispered, "We'll be okay. I promise." And for the first time in days, she believed it. The next morning, Anna called her mother. Her voice was raw, barely above a whisper. "He cheated, Mom, while I'm carrying his baby." There was a long silence on the other end. Then came the sigh. "I warned you, Anna. He was never steady." Anna bit her lip. It wasn't what she needed to hear. I thought he'd change." Her mother's voice softened. "You always want to see the good. That's not a flaw. But now, you need to be strong. For that baby. Tears trickled down Anna's face. The words hurt, but they were true. She nodded, even though her mother couldn't see it. I don't want to do this alone, she whispered. You won't, her mom said gently. You're not alone anymore. Anna walked into her prenatal class alone. It was the first time. Couples filled the room, smiling, holding hands, laughing nervously. She felt their eyes on her as she lowered herself into a chair, belly prominent, heart racing. A woman leaned over kindly. First one alone? Anna forced a smile. Yeah, he's busy. The woman nodded, knowingly. The instructor began the breathing exercise, but Anna's chest felt tight. Her mind wandered. What if she had to do it all by herself? Labor. Wall. Sleepless nights. First cries. She blinked fast, swallowing emotion. Breathe in, the instructor said. Anna obeyed, shaky but steady. And for the first time that week, she exhaled on her own. At home, Anna opened her laptop and began typing. The document title, Birth Plan. The cursor blinked as she hesitated. Every plan she made had included him. Now, it was just her. She started with the basics: hospital name, emergency contact, her mother now, pain management preferences. Tears blurred the screen when she reached partner support. Her fingers paused. She deleted the entire line. Instead, she wrote, support person, TBD. She leaned back, cradling her belly. We'll make our own plan, she said aloud. Her baby kicked again. She smiled faintly through the tears. Well, maybe the future wouldn't look like the dream, but it would still be hers. That evening, Anna found one of his shirts in the laundry basket. She lifted it, pressed it to her face, and inhaled. Familiar, warm, heartbreaking. She sat on the floor, hugging the shirt, memories crashing down, their beach trip, late-night takeout, the way he whispered to her belly before sleep. She let the pain wash over her. Then slowly, deliberately, she folded the shirt and placed it in a box. One by one, she packed the pieces of him away. Not out of hate, but to clear the space for herself, for her child, for healing. When she sealed the box shut, she whispered, "This isn't goodbye. It's goodbye to what I thought you were." Anna stood before the mirror, hands resting on her belly. Her reflection stared back, exhausted, tear-worn, but standing. She ran her fingers through her hair, pulled it back, and tightened her robe. "You're doing this," she told herself. "You're still standing." In the mirror, she saw not just a broken woman, but a mother, a protector, a fighter. She smiled, a small one, but real. "We've got this," she whispered to the bump. The baby kicked. She laughed through her tears. That night, she slept better than she had in days, not because it was easier, but because she had chosen herself. The following week, Anna received a message from an unknown number. "You should ask him about the woman he visited in Miami. I'm done covering for him." Her stomach twisted. She hadn't known he went to Miami. Rage, disbelief, and nausea collided in her chest. She called him. He answered. "What now?" he said, annoyed. "Miami?" she hissed. There was a pause. Then, laughter. "Oh, come on, Anna. You're fishing now." Her voice cracked. "Just tell me the truth." "Why? You won't leave either way," he said coldly. Silence. Then she hung up. Her hand trembled. This wasn't about finding more proof. She had all she needed. Now, it was about finding herself again. Anna opened the hallway closet and pulled out the suitcase they once used on weekend getaways. She unzipped it and began packing, not for a trip, but for escape. Maternity clothes, baby essentials, the insurance folder, her journal. Each item folded with silent intention. And you. She didn't have a destination yet, just a need to leave the place where trust had died. She packed the baby blanket she had crocheted by hand, then paused at the door, glancing around the apartment one last time. Every room felt like a lie. "We'll find peace," she whispered, pressing her hand to her belly. "Even if I have to fight for it." That night, he came back. Drunk, died. Slurred apologies. "I messed up, okay? But I'm here now." Anna stood between him and the nursery, protective, silent. "I just want to see the baby stuff," he said, stumbling forward. "Not tonight," she replied firmly. He scoffed, eyes narrowing. "You think you can raise a kid without me?" Her jaw tightened. "I know I can." He laughed bitterly, stormed into the bedroom, and slammed the door. Anna stood frozen, her breath shaking. She leaned against the nursery doorframe, tears brimming, but she didn't collapse. Not this time. Instead, she whispered, "Not again," and locked the nursery behind her. The next morning, Anna visited a legal aid office. She sat in a stiff chair, clutching a folder of documents, lease, medical records, tech screenshots. A tired lawyer skimmed through the pages, then looked up. "We can file for temporary custody and emergency support," she said. Anna exhaled for the first time in what felt like days. "I want to protect my child," she said firmly. The lawyer nodded. "Then this is the first step." Anna walked out into the cold breeze, her coat barely buttoned around her belly. For the first time, she wasn't afraid of the road ahead. She had begun to take it. Back home, the silence between them was heavy. He sat on the couch, scrolling his phone like nothing had changed. Anna entered, holding the legal envelope. He looked up, annoyed. "What's that?" She placed it on the table. "Notice, I'm filing." His smirk faded. "You're serious?" She nodded. "You had a choice. You made it." He stood up, suddenly angry. "You'll regret this." But Anna didn't flinch. "No," she said calmly. "I regret staying this long." The room was still. The war was over, and she had won, not with rage, but with truth. She walked away, not looking back. Anna sat on the edge of the bathtub, phone in hand, checking her messages again. A new one blinked at the top. "Unknown number. There's more you don't know. Ask him about the baby that's not yours." Her heart sank. The room seemed to spin. She called the number, but it went straight to voicemail. She texted back, but no response. Panic surged. Another child. Her thoughts spiraled. Had she been living in a double life without knowing? She gripped the sink and looked at herself in the mirror. Wild hair, tear-streaked cheeks, disbelief etched into her features. "Tell me it's not true," she whispered. But deep down, something told her it was. Unable to take the torment any longer, Anna confronted him. "Is there someone else pregnant?" she asked, voice low but shaking. He flinched. "Who told you that?" That was enough. He didn't deny it. "My God," Anna whispered. "Is it true?" His silence answered everything. He sat down, burying his face in his hands. "It was a mistake. Just one night." Anna staggered back like she'd been punched. "You didn't just cheat on me. You started a second life while I carried yours." He tried to reach her, but she recoiled. "Don't touch me." Her words sliced the air. "You're not a mistake. You're a betrayal." The ground beneath her had finally shattered. After he left, Anna sat on the nursery floor surrounded by baby items she'd carefully prepared. The crib, the onesies, the mobile he promised to hang. All of it felt like a cruel joke now. She pulled her knees to her chest, as much as her belly allowed, and cried harder than she had in years. This wasn't just heartbreak, it was grief. Grief for the life she thought she had. Grief for the family she believed they were building. Between sobs, she clutched a tiny blue hat. "I'm so sorry," she whispered to her unborn child. "You didn't deserve this." Her tears soaked the fabric as the silence of the nursery grew deafening. That night, Anna dreamed of water. She was drowning in a sea of white walls and echoing cries. Then, suddenly, her water broke. She jolted awake, sheets soaked, panic taking over. Too early, she gasped. The pain hit next, sharp, rhythmic. She grabbed her phone, dialing for help with trembling fingers. "Please, I'm 34 weeks. I think I'm in labor," she cried. Paramedics arrived quickly. Lights flashing. Questions she couldn't answer. Her mind was a blur. As they loaded her onto the stretcher, her eyes searched the apartment. Empty. No one beside her. No hand to hold. She gripped her belly and whispered, "Hold on, baby. Just hold on." The hospital room was cold and sterile. Machines beeped. Nurses moved fast. A doctor leaned over her, voice firm. "We have to deliver now." Anna nodded through gritted teeth. Alone, afraid, she squeezed the side rail with one hand and clutched her belly with the other. "You're strong," she whispered to herself. "We're strong." The contractions came like waves, each one sharper than the last. There was no partner beside her, no whispered encouragement, only her and the weight of what she'd endured. But when the baby's cry filled the room, her tears turned to something else. Not sorrow. Not pain. But fierce, defiant love. The baby arrived too soon. Tiny. Fragile. Wrapped in wires and tubes. Anna lay in her hospital bed, eyes swollen from labor and tears, staring through the glass into the NICU. Her son was barely the length of her forearm, but his chest rose and fell, with a fight she didn't know she'd pass down. A nurse approached gently. "You can touch him through the side panel." Anna reached in with trembling fingers, brushing his hand. It clenched hers, weak but firm. Her heart swelled and broke at once. "Hi, baby," she whispered, tears falling freely. "It's just us now." She pressed her forehead against the glass, promising silently, "I will never let you down." Days blurred into each other. Anna lived in a hospital chair. Every beep of the machines echoed in her bones. Nurses offered blankets, coffee, soft smiles, but she barely noticed. She memorized her son's vitals, the chart on the wall, the patterns of his breathing. Every twitch, every flutter was a miracle. She whispered stories to him. About stars, about courage, about mothers who choose to stay strong even when their world crumbles. One night she sang softly, voice cracking, "You are my sunshine." The nurse nearby paused, eyes glassy. Anna sang on, because she needed to believe the light was still in reach. On the fifth night he appeared. Unannounced. Standing just outside the NICU window, hands in pockets, face blank. Anna saw him through the glass and froze. The nurse asked, "Should I call security?" Anna shook her head slowly. She walked out to meet him. "You can't just show up," she said quietly. He glanced at the baby. "Is he okay?" Anna's voice was steel. "He's fighting harder than you ever did." He tried to speak, but she cut him off. "You walked away when we needed you most. You don't get to walk back in now." Her eyes didn't waver. "This is my son, my life. You are no longer welcome in either." After he left, she returned to her son's side and rested her palm against the incubator. The nurse whispered, "You handled that with grace." Anna nodded, eyes still on her baby. "I didn't know I had it in me." The nurse smiled. "You've always had it. Some women just discover it during fire." Anna watched her son wiggle slightly in response to her voice. She whispered, "We're going to be okay." For the first time, she believed it. Not because someone told her, but because she had built it, brick by painful brick. A quiet strength settled into her bones. She was no longer breaking. She was rebuilding. 2 weeks later, Anna held her baby in her arms for the first time. No glass, no wires. Just skin, heartbeat, breath. He was still small, but stronger now. She sat near the window, bathed in morning light, rocking him gently. Her tears returned, but not from sorrow. From gratitude. From love. From survival. She kissed his forehead and whispered, "You are everything he wasn't." He squirmed, and she laughed softly. Outside the window, life went on. But inside that room, everything had changed. She wasn't just a woman who had been cheated on. She was a mother who rose from ashes. She was finally free. Anna returned home with her newborn after 21 days in the hospital. The apartment felt smaller now, quieter, but not hollow. She stepped inside, baby carrier in hand, and closed the door behind her. No one greeted her. No balloons. No welcome. Just her and her son. And that was enough. She placed him in the bassinet and stood for a moment, staring. "We made it," she whispered. The plants were half dead. The fridge nearly empty. But the air felt lighter, as if something poisonous had finally been purged. She opened the windows wide, letting the breeze carry the old ghosts out. "This is our fresh start," she said. And she meant it. Over the following days, Anna found a rhythm, chaotic, but hers. Feedings at 2 a.m., diapers at 4, lullabies at sunrise. She did it all herself, learning by instinct, by failure, by love. Her body ached, her mind blurred, but each time she looked into her son's eyes, clarity returned. She recorded everything. First smile, first stretch, first soft. Her phone was filled with memories she built from scratch. At night, when the baby slept on her chest, she'd whisper, "No one can take this from us." No longer waiting for someone to help, to save, or to love her right, Anna became everything she needed on her own. One afternoon, Anna stood in front of a mirror, baby in sling, makeup in hand. She hadn't touched it in months. She brushed her hair, lined her eyes, and added color to her cheeks. It wasn't vanity, it was reclamation. With her son watching, she whispered, "This is me remembering who I am." She wore her favorite earrings, the ones she hadn't dared to since everything fell apart. And for the first time since the betrayal, she smiled at her reflection, not because she was trying to feel beautiful, but because she finally saw the woman who had survived it all staring back. Anna opened her laptop late one night and clicked submit on a job application. She hadn't worked in almost a year, but now the fire was back. She needed to provide, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. She found remote roles, freelancing gigs, and parenting forums where she offered advice. People responded. They thanked her. She mattered again. Not just as a mother, but as a voice. Her voice. The woman who had been silenced by betrayal was now echoing across inboxes and chat rooms. And each reply, each "thank you for sharing," stitched another piece of her back together. Weeks passed and Anna found herself in a park, stroller beside her, sipping coffee as her baby napped. A woman approached, smiling. "You're first?" Anna nodded. "You're glowing." Anna chuckled. "Meh. It's sleep deprivation and coffee." They laughed. It felt good to laugh. She didn't mention the betrayal, the hospital, or the nights she sobbed into her pillow. She didn't need to. Her joy didn't require explanation. As the wind brushed her cheeks, she closed her eyes and breathed deeply. She had survived hell. And now, she was standing in sunlight, sipping hope from a paper cup. And this felt like victory. Months later, Anna received a letter. A formal envelope slid beneath her door, family court notification. Her heart paused before she even opened it. He wanted visitation rights. After months of silence. No. No apology. No accountability. Just entitlement. Anna read the letter slowly, then folded it carefully and set it down. Her lawyer had warned her this might come. But she wasn't afraid anymore. Not of him. Not of the past. She picked up her son, now chubby-cheeked and giggling. "We're not going backward," she said, kissing his forehead. She reached for her phone, not to call him, but to schedule a meeting with her attorney. If he wanted a fight, he'd get one. But this time, on her terms. In court, she stood straight, baby in arms, her lawyer at her side. He sat across the room, smug at first, but visibly shaken as the hearing progressed. Anna presented her case clearly. Abandonment, emotional harm, a father who disappeared when she was most vulnerable. The judge listened, unimpressed by his excuses. Parental rights are earned, not claimed like property, the judge said sternly. Anna didn't smile, didn't cry. She just held her son close, whispering, "You're safe." The ruling was swift. No visitation without counseling, no unsupervised access. It wasn't just a legal win, it was a line in the sand. She was no longer his victim. She was her child's protector. After the hearing, Anna stood outside the courthouse. The sun warmed her face as she looked out over the city. Her son slept peacefully against her chest. She thought back to that voicemail, the first betrayal, the labor alone, the sleepless weeks. She had survived every fire. And now she was still standing, taller, wiser, unshakable. A reporter nearby asked her, "Do you have any comments?" Anna paused, smiled gently and said, "Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the reason you find your strength." Then she walked away, not as a victim, not as a symbol, but as a woman who rewrote her own ending. That evening, Anna sat on the floor of her son's nursery. The room, once haunted by grief, now glowed with soft lullabies and peaceful light. She read aloud from a book, her voice steady and warm. Her son reached for her necklace, one engraved with his name, and she laughed gently. "You're my best chapter," she whispered. She closed the book and rocked him slowly, heart full. Outside, the city moved on. Inside, she held everything that mattered. There were scars, yes, but they told a story of survival, of power, of motherhood born not from fantasy, but from fire, and love that never flinched. Late that night, Anna stood by the window, city lights blinking below, her baby asleep nearby. She held a cup of tea, watching her reflection in the glass. Not the same woman who once begged for love. This version had walked through betrayal, through labor alone, through courts and breakdowns, and came out still whole. She whispered into the silence, "We are more than what was done to us." She turned to her son and smiled. He shifted in his sleep, peaceful. As the night embraced them, Anna felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Not just strength, but peace. Final, gut, true, and hers.